on. Let's see how quick we can make discussions go.
Do you want
We can approve the minutes.
Yeah, you can now. Yeah, for sure. Do you want to go ahead and
Anybody
call?
got any mission?
Well, you got to call it to order.
Well, I'd like to bring this meeting to order at 7:30. Anybody got omissions or corrections to the minutes?
So I just have a minor thing at the very end. I'm going to have to pull it up on my phone here real quick.
Is it thought?
Yes.
The second bullet from the end says thought instead of though.
Well, I'm impressed that you both kind of remember that. The second bullet from the end.
Here,
Oh,
why don't
there
you?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does have any other ones? Nope.
Can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Do I hear a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Gordy is
Okay.
present.
Okay. Administrative discussions, tree removal on Conservation Commission land near 11 Elm Street. Where are we with that?
Did anybody go?
I didn't. I totally forgot about it.
I just like making you admit that.
I drove by, but without knowing the property boundary, it's.
Are they flagged or
She was
tagged?
supposed to
or-
have it flagged out there, but you couldn't really see.
Okay, yeah, I just
Yeah.
drove by.
Yeah. So maybe we can just move it to the next and see if we can get.
Yeah, she had sent me another email saying that maybe, there probably are trees that are on the town property as well as CONCOM property. So I'm still trying to get an answer, like, does the town have a process
Okay.
for them coming in?
Okay.
So,
All right, well, let's
I think
see
maybe
if we can
that
go.
would kind of go to the tree, maybe to the town tree warden.
Yeah.
Keith did pass my email on to Jim Clyde, and Jim said, they would deal with street trees. They have no access to those trees, so if the property owner wants to do it, the town's not gonna pay for it,
Okay.
basically, so.
I don't think it's a big issue, probably.
Okay.
204-564 85A Hartwell Certificate of Compliance. Where are we on that one?
Well, I just wanted to check on what your feeling was on that, because the only thing that would be holding that up is the fact that the bounds haven't been put in for the conservation easement, which someone should have caught a while ago, and no one did. We didn't catch it, National Heritage didn't catch it. So,
Well, that would be the last stopgap if we
Right.
don't do it, though. So
right, so.
I would inclined to.
Yeah, so right now, who is this? This is Mickey Jensen's property. So they were in the same night that Black Maple was in, and I can't remember his name, Glenn Berger, yeah, did say that they would put up the bounds, and then Mickey ran out and tried to catch him, but he didn't catch him to say, will you really? But I know Mickey's looking to sell.
I would wait until it's.
So I
somebody
haven't
goes
heard
in.
anything yet. I assume that, but I just wanted to check.
Okay, bylaw regulatory review minor project policy.
I didn't know if you wanted to, and we push it to the end to
Oh.
address any of those tonight, or try to get started on how you want to address those.
I looked at it, I have opinions when it's time to discuss it.
Good, opinions are good.
Um,
Why don't we push it to the end, maybe?
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Request certificate of compliance for Oak Hill parking, should be Kill, not Hill, parking lot.
Yeah.
204-831. So that's on us.
That's, I fill out the request for certificate of compliance, I filled out the certificate of compliance. The grass, everything's stable, the grass is growing, they've pulled out the erosion controls. Rick Finley and Jim O'Neill actually have put up a connector trail into the system. So it needs signage, but otherwise it's good to go.
And we're going to work on the signage, but currently we have a temporary, little map sign up,
Yep.
and it looks really nice. It came out beautifully.
Is that going to require any digging or anything that would be a problem as far as?
It's just putting in posts.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just, that's the only thing I can.
Yeah.
And the area's already designated where the posts go.
Not yet, but I'm sure it wouldn't be any trouble to find a good spot for it.
So are you guys good to sign the certificate?
Yep.
I'll make a motion.
Wait a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's something we gotta sign off on, I assume?
Yep.
Pass it.
I will. I'm going to bypass Anna, though. So I didn't want to rudely do that until I finished writing. You guys are going faster than I can write tonight.
That's the goal.
Sarah's back.
Okay, Boy Scout camping land use request, Newtown.
You want to come back?
Newtown Hill Conservation Area. I guess you want to come up and talk to us?
Sure. First, I was just to make introductions. Hi, I'm Doug Rank. I'm the new Scoutmaster for Troop 20.
Cool.
And a colleague of mine, a friend, Mr. Mullen,
sit down.
already
In the blue
gone
seat.
through-
In the blue seat, so you're on TV.
Matches your tie.
Got it. So just following up to make introductions, and then also follow up for a thank you on already approving our use for the land. What we're going to do is have an Iron Chef, and that's typically where we go through and have a chance for the new younger Cub Scouts to explore the different troops, and then hopefully not, at least in my case, burn too many Dutch oven cooking. The boys are infinitely better at that, but I wanted to thank you for that. It just was more to make introductions, and my
Hopefully
understanding
it'll
is,
be a little cooler when you're there.
yes.
Solar oven today.
So,
So we understand it's for 20 people, 6 cars.
correct.
We can follow the same leave no trace policy, and you guys have done a great job in the past, and
Yep.
look forward to it.
Has he filled out the paperwork with you?
Mhm.
Yep,
Yeah,
so-
It's already signed by, we're the last one, Andrew, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
No, Andrew's been great about it.
Okay.
So that's just for Jim to sign, assuming.
Do I have to have a motion that the board approve this, I would assume?
I don't think you usually do, but.
We typically
We
do.
will support it, so.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the Boy Scouts land use request for camping at Newtown Hill.
I'll second.
Do I have a second?
Rachel did.
Yep.
Rachel did.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent, thanks.
Thank you
May
very
you have
much.
good weather.
Yeah.
What's the date?
It's the 20th through 22nd of October.
Okay. Next.
Okay.
You're
All
all
right.
set?
Thank you very much, guys.
Good luck.
I expect to be in front of the board more in the future.
Good, we look forward to,
Do
we
I
look
need
forward to
to-
your projects.
Do I need to have the?
Oh,
form
yeah,
as well?
yeah. I was actually going to scan it and send it to Bob, if that works.
That would be wonderful.
Okay.
Still new to
Why don't I
the
hand it back
process.
to you, or no, I'll put it right here. Let's see if we don't forget that.
Yeah.
Have a good evening. Thank you
Have a good
much.
night.
Good night.
Proposed Littleton tree hunt program on town conservation land. Who wants to talk to that one?
So, I don't know if you guys got my email a little earlier today with information about this. Probably not, right? It just went out today. So, there's a proposed program that a group of people are working on in town to basically put like a decorated tree on each, well, not every property, but certain properties in town, like along the trails, and there'll be teams to like find them and like take pictures. It's a really fun thing. Chelmsford did it last year and I guess the year before, and people love it. So,
You mean like a Christmas tree?
yeah, like a Christmas tree. Yeah.
With
Of-
lights and everything?
No. With, of course, environmentally safe decorations and all that good stuff. So it's in the early stages of planning, but one of the major hurdles of the entire thing is getting approval from the commission to put trees along the sides of the trails that the commission owns.
Oh, so they actually put trees out, they don't.
Oh, no.
Tree.
Sorry. No, they decorate a tree. They don't put trees
It's
out.
already
Oh, that's what I was
there.
That's there,
So you
yeah.
have to designate, like, these are appropriate ones?
They'll work with the land stewards for each property to determine placement, but it'll all be very regulated. It won't just be, loosey goosey. Put it here and.
And when would it end? And
I guess it starts the day after Thanksgiving, and I believe it ends sometime around Christmas. I may not be correct on that.
It's a good point, Anna, because we want to make sure things don't stay up and then get taken by the wind or ingested by birds or things like that.
There will be teams actually set up to monitor these trees separately,
Okay.
in addition to the land stewards monitoring it, so.
They have to, the kickoff date is Friday, November 24th, and the decorations had to be taken out January 6th.
Okay.
After snow.
So there's a-
So I actually went to the last planning
The
meeting.
only thing is that we may want to have it out before snowfall, because there may be some that are captured under the snow. Like that you'd have some type of phrase put in that's, January 2nd is great, but if it looks like there's pending snow accumulation, maybe move it up if you can.
How much snow?
I don't know.
I'm
I mean,
just
I don't know
curious,
the
I know what
program,
you're,
so-
I know what you're saying, but I was just, 2 inches of snow isn't gonna be an issue, but,
Right, I mean-
but a foot of snow might be an issue.
Probably
Yeah.
like 6 or more. So,
Okay, 6 or more?
I mean,
can-
just whatever you think.
Start paying attention at 6 and evaluate.
Yeah.
Are there any rules about the types of ornaments they're having?
I believe so. It's all going to be environmentally friendly stuff, and of course unbreakable bulbs and whatnot. So
Yeah, that would be.
Could you do
Yeah,
solar powered
they need to
lights?
check that. 'cause
no,
they-
no lights.
Not even sol-
The
not even solar
would be
ones, though?
cool.
Well, maybe I don't know. They
So
might.
I
ones
do
you use
have,
for
like, I have
camping?
those. Well, I mean, you have solar string lights,
Yeah.
so they've got a little.
Be kind of fun.
It says,
Maybe
you know,
just have one
think string or
designated
yarn
one.
instead of fishing wire, but they also say,
Do
and
it.
painted or
Oh, do they?
plastic instead of paper.
Oh, well,
So
maybe.
I think they got a little sentence problem.
I mean, I
there,
understand not running electricity to them, but like, they do have solar.
Okay.
So.
which makes no sense to me. I think they mean to say paper instead of plastic,
Kind of team
but.
that's-
Yeah, maybe we,
Well,
can
maybe-
we, we're
maybe
gonna review
Paper would
this
sort of
though, right?
degrade very quickly.
No.
The
we-
guidelines.
So
Can
maybe you
we,
don't want plastic.
I'm all supportive of it, but I think the commission needs to just read through the guidelines.
Okay, which I'd sent around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or hear what they finally decide, actual,
I think they were looking to get started fairly soon. I know our next meeting is on October 16th, quite a ways out. I don't know when they wanted to start advertising for like teams and.
I think they sort of have the word out, it sounded like, on
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Facebook.
saw a
I don't know if
Facebook
they're
page.
actually, yeah.
kind of sounds like some of the board members want more clarification.
Okay.
I just wanna make sure the materials are appropriate.
Like I said, I'd gone to the planning meeting and it all sounded pretty straightforward. No hazardous and breakable materials.
No tinsel.
No tinsel, yeah, nothing like that.
But you mentioned fishing wires allowed?
No, if it- not. So, you know, use string or yarn instead of fishing wire. I imagine some of these are certainly gonna be, you know, like, something edible. I mean,
Right.
I think so, the pictures they sent around,
Birdseed and.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So why don't you, like, just let me know if you got any comments on what they sent around, and then I can just pass them on.
Okay.
You
Sorry,
sent that
have you already
today?
gone through
Today, this morning.
Yes, so you were probably the only one who went, so, did you go?
Yeah, I think I did. I was the only one there.
Oh no, I forgot, I know.
What?
That's 4 times I got to admit it.
Uh-oh.
So, what is your
So
thoughts
you had a
on
good
that?
run, you went to a lot.
Well, from what I saw, there were 2 trees on our land and 2 trees on the town land. The 2 trees on the Conservation Commission land were definitely leaning toward the house and over the house. So I didn't see a problem with her taking them down. So, and I don't know, but the town land is out of our hands, I think, right? It's
Yes.
just go in front of the selectmen.
Yeah, but we could give them the approval to go, with the blessing, they can walk into the selectmen and say, it's on conservation land, we have,
Looked at the other ones.
How do you want to word it? I just want it clear for Amy. Sarah, go ahead and word it.
well, Anna would, I haven't seen it, so perhaps Anna could.
Well, she
look at it.
said, wait, this is August 27th. September 12th. Yeah, she's got, there's a clump of 4 trees, 2 large and 2 young. Did you meet them out there, or did you just,
I met the
Okay.
woman out there, yeah.
which is 1 more than we originally thought.
Actually, they weren't a clump. It was like 2 on conservation and 2 separate on town. It wasn't a clump.
And she said too large and too young. That-
The ones on conservation land were about the same size, about a foot caliper, and they were poplars,
Oh,
so they were like
Loses.
common,
Take 'em.
fast-growing.
It's really bad too, if you saw the
So,
pictures, the lean is.
Would you
Yeah.
want to make a motion that they could
Yeah.
take down the two that are on the conservation land, but they'll have to seek more approval from the selectmen?
Yes,
Yep,
And
that's
they're-
perfect.
Yeah.
so moved.
Yep,
Do we hear a second?
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
because you're gonna have to have a certificate of insurance, whoever the tree person is.
Okay. Continued public hearing, notice of intent, 10 Fort Pond, U 27-18-0.
That, was that postponed, Amy? Continued.
Horses, yes.
DEP.
They asked,
So that's being continued to October 16th?
yeah, he asked for continuance, did he give a reason? Sorry for being a little disorganized here.
An attorney opinion.
Other options are being explored. So, continue to the 16th.
Oh, this is the one that goes through the floodplain and all that.
Yeah, exactly. So I did get 2 proposals for the peer review for Hartwell as well as 10 Fort Pond. Pretty similar. I think they're both on hold at this point.
Okay.
I got something from Scott Goddard and something from Green. And Ted Doucette, who's the engineer for Hartwell, wanted to know if anybody would care if Mary Rimmer was on the list of people to contact for at least the initial delineation piece of it. She obviously can't do the ILSF piece of it, so. I had initially said, well, I was looking for somebody who could do it all, so we don't have to do the paperwork once. But he was under the impression that,
Let have one person do the whole thing, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I was, yeah. I mean, it would be 2 different people anyway. You got a biologist for a piece of it, and then you got an engineer for the other piece. But if it's all in one firm, it's all one contract.
I would support,
You know, I had kind of a comment on that. 2 wrongs don't make a right,
Meaning,
meaning that just because they subdivided one lot,
oh, yeah.
Doesn't
Why
mean they
sh-
can do it again.
yeah. I mean, that's,
No, that's true.
and we went around with him years ago, when
reading a
we-
novel
long time ago. We went around with him on that.
that's, yeah.
So the site walk for that is Friday at 4:30?
29th, right? You said?
That's this Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah. Anybody gonna be able to make it?
Not
I think I can do it.
Uh-huh. You typing it in?
It's in the calendar. It's in the calendar.
Would you be able to make that, Anna, or
I
should
think I have it in mine already.
Yeah, it was set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Can you just send a reminder to Carl where he's not here tonight?
yeah.
Did you already do the minutes?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to add to it?
Thought.
Do we have any other discussion items?
I do. Fort Pond, Hartwell. Oh, the CPC, Rick Finley has given me an application for an eligibility request for purchase for $148,000 for the purchase of 50 acres of the Smith property. It already has a CR on it, so the property value is pretty low.
What's the address?
Was it 180, Whitcomb?
It's Whitcomb
Yeah, it's right
Avenue.
across from,
I think it's 189,
Where you
maybe,
get the
something
depots, I
in
think
there.
So,
On the opposite side?
both sides of the
It's
lot.
on both sides
Mhm.
of Whitcomb. It includes the barn that's out there. And it backs up against Harvard's Black Pond, and there's
Yeah,
some
yeah.
Harvard
It's a
land
beautiful
also
area.
You know, it is definitely.
that they're hoping Harvard
You know, it
would
was on both sides.
purchase at the same time. So,
Is
I don't
that
know.
under review for us, or do we need
Well, that was
to-
exactly my next question.
So,
He has it down as Conservation Commission as the applicant.
Okay,
So with,
so we should have a sidewalk.
we should do a site walk, yes. So the CPC is going to be meeting this Wednesday, and Rick wanted to do an eligibility request, actually at this meeting, to see if it's an eligible project, but funding and everything else, that's going to be the spring, if anything. Nothing's going to happen at this town meeting for this. And right now, our open space funds for CPA are basically depleted. So
Okay.
if anything, it'd probably be borrowing against future funds. So
Well, it's good to get it in there.
Oh,
It
yeah.
could be for future review, but let's go ahead and,
Because the only other project so far I've heard kicked around is the parking lot for Williams.
for Williams, yeah. So
what would you like for us to do for
Uh,
Wednesday?
I think an eligibility request would be fine for now. It's not setting us up to have to move
Spend
forward.
anything.
It just kind of lays out.
It just kind of lays it out,
On the
and
table?
the committee determines whether or not it's an eligible project.
Do you want to make a motion for support of the commission?
Sure. Well, should I, or somebody else probably should, because I'm going to be voting on the
That's fine.
request.
Come on, man.
I'm not sure. So we're making a motion to
Support the eligibility request for the Smith property purchase?
eligibility request for the Smith property purchase, but, okay, Smith Family Conservation Land at 37 Shattuck Street.
So this says,
Oh, no, that's,
Whoops.
No.
that's down the hall.
Ruh-roh.
they're buying town hall.
Surprise.
How many acres?
He doesn't have the address on there.
Oh,
Yeah, just reference approximately how many acres.
50.
50,
Yeah, cool.
approximately 50 acres. Where does it say that?
It's in there
Didn't
somewhere.
Oh, there it is.
Andrew's
Purchase of
head.
approximately 50 acres of the Smith property. Okay. Oh, with trail links to Harvard's Black Pond Conservation Land.
Yeah, I think it comes off of Moore Lane, too. I think there's a
Yes.
sheer
Goes
land
up.
that goes up
Yeah.
That big
behind
rock.
there.
Bear, what's a bear rock? Okay, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Out of curiosity, clarification on the Williams property, is that conservation or?
Yes.
Yep.
And that's all said and done?
It's all said and done. You want a copy of this?
Yep. Thanks.
The pictures in there?
Oh, yeah. Did you guys want to have a look?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
It's a beautiful,
That's
beautiful
what I
piece
wanted
of
to look
land.
at. I want pretty ones.
No.
Actually, that
Oh,
goes,
that
that
famous road.
goes back to the Webster
Yeah.
family, a lot of that.
Is it?
were
Oh, I
Webster's,
didn't know.
uh,
Andrew, where were they taken?
where the barn
pictures?
is, there needs
I
to
don't
be a
know.
house directly
That's
across.
snow?
That was
Oh, my.
Webster, Smith bought
Is
it
that water always there?
years ago.
I think those pictures are from some of the CR monitoring that they've done, that LCT has done.
We went out there quite a while ago. I want to say maybe last spring, and had a look with Keith and a couple members of the finance committee. Maybe that's when Rick took the pictures.
I go by there pretty regularly at
You
times.
come this way. From the depot.
Oh.
Yep, so, okay, so you come up here.
Yeah, it's a beautiful property.
there's
It's
more,
currently protected by a CR, but
Yeah.
there's no public access, so,
Right.
yeah, really nice.
I think somebody's living in her house now.
Yeah, somebody
Yes,
bought,
that's
a
sold.
family bought it. So,
And
let me see
Across
here.
the street too, I don't know what the story on that is.
Okay, so, Harvard's right here. Okay, so I'm guessing,
Wait, Andrew, do you want this?
oh, that'd be great, actually, yeah.
Can you pass that right back?
Yeah, sorry, I was passing through that. Someone wanted to see pictures.
Thanks.
I know, it's just an automatic reaction.
Stealing your paperwork.
Okay. Is there anything else?
A couple things, if you care, fall town meeting will include the acceptance of the transfer of the Cooper Farm parcels, was it A, B, C, and D?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Well, I forget who they're going to. They're, A is to be for recreational, conservation, and/or agricultural, B and C are for agricultural, and D is to be held for open space and/or agricultural.
Oh.
So I can't remember if any of it's actually coming into CONCOM.
No, those are the properties that are right along the road, right, to there,
them
and
are.
then,
There's two and then one in the back.
A and
And then
B
one
are-
in the
There's
back.
one that's way down and back.
are any of them wetland?
They probably got
Yeah.
wet areas. When have you ever seen a farm that didn't have wet areas on it?
That's true.
And ledge.
I would think we'd prefer the wet one.
Oh,
Maybe
that's,
No,
the
you
right
want
side.
all of it.
Yeah, I think some of the area behind where the houses are, where they were on the buffer zone too, so it includes some of that woods that got silted, as well as the field.
Who's
that's-
presenting that?
Who's what?
Who's presenting that motion? Like who's it sponsored by?
Well,
I guess it's the Board of Selectmen.
on October 2nd, the selectmen are going to have a public hearing to kind of get an idea of what the public wants to do with these properties, so I guess they'll be receiving public input.
Wasn't there some talk, about having a walkway through there to go up to,
Right, but that would have gone through the septic system area. Remember?
well,
So what are the
Chase walked
details on October 2nd?
So it's a selectmen meeting, and it'll be a public hearing, so anybody can go and give their input.
The notice is right next to Jim there, Sarah.
yeah, but they were talking, Fields was talking just a unpaved footpath at one point, and then I think this
Right, but it
Trails people have gotten involved in it and want to have a bridge across there someplace to come out on Goldsmith Street.
Right, but there was an area that was in a resource area that we had that discussion a long, long time ago, and one of the trails was already said no to.
Hmm.
So that's why I'm curious where the new map is.
We're still working
on the
on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
is
don't
it on
think
their
that, I don't
webs-
think that includes any kind of.
Oh, no, yeah, that's
Yeah.
totally separate from this.
Okay.
Was that the one near the stone wall? Oh, okay.
But there's a group in town that is really pushing that business as far as having some sort of access
Yeah,
Oh, the
through
bicycle
to
and
Goldsmith
pedestrian
Street
committee.
from
Yeah,
119.
there's a bridge
That would be
crossing.
awesome.
So,
That was the last, yeah, that was the last thing.
Because you guys had a sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
It was like during the rain. Bring your boots.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah.
Perfect though for them to see
is
that.
everything pretty much stable and under control as far as Durkee and Cooper and,
I haven't seen him in a couple, I was gonna try to go out tomorrow or Wednesday.
Went to Durkee today, just to see what the farm pond elevation was like, just because I haven't seen it in a while. So, and then Amy and I were discussing the detention pond at the crossing still has quite a bit of water in it, so,
The crossing?
Three.
I mean, yeah,
Oh,
right at
oh,
the intersection.
Yeah.
okay.
Did you go all the way back? Have they started
I did.
blasting through on the far side?
No, I went up top behind the pond and then drove down the new,
That-
down
yeah.
Spruce.
Yeah, there's the one at the crossing, that's the one that they were gonna excavate the silt from, right?
Right,
And they
but it's
have.
still-
Yeah, Basin 3, they haven't done it yet.
It still has a lot of water in it.
Oh.
Yeah, they haven't done it.
So I'd like to know if we're gonna address that in the fall, or if we're gonna try and go through winter with that, because that road's gonna continue to flood.
So they are scheduled to come back in on the 16th. They did get the peer review through the planning board, which I sent around to you, which I've skimmed. It looks
Is that what came today?
pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
yeah.
skimmed it.
That was the second thing that came today, unfortunately, so.
It might be nice prior to the 16th for everybody just to take a drive-through so they can see where we're at that point.
Be up to date, yeah.
Okay.
and Cooper's, well, you haven't seen that in a couple of weeks. so.
I got as far as checking the rainfall when I was gone. I haven't been out to any of this. I've only been to a couple sites since then.
Okay.
so.
So we're definitely on for the 16th, but not the 30th. Do we want to try and set a calendar past the 16th?
That's the question.
Hmm.
That question, bring that calendar.
Well, how
in.
much of a workload do we have that's going to require?
225 Taylor, which I'm not going to remember the name of, was the Gutierrez. They came in last year asking for an extension.
Not much.
It was pretty old.
What's the name?
Went up at
It's a
the top of the
Gutierrez.
hill. They're at the top of the hill opposite Foster Street.
I believe that's about it,
Yeah.
yeah. It's one of those in there. They came in for an extension. You guys basically said, we'll give you another year, but then you got to check the delineation. So they're in the process of checking the delineation now.
Okay.
Oh.
And I was,
Good.
Dennis Lowry is doing that, and so he's doing that I think this week. They've already backstored the flags, he's checking it this week. I'm gonna go out, and then they're coming in on the 16th.
October 30th is town meeting.
Exactly, so
Right,
that's.
that's why we're not meeting on the 30th.
Okay.
So that's
So we-
why
we-
I'm asking.
So
right.
that will
When's
be
the
in, but
next meeting
that is
gonna be?
theoretically just a request for extension. Workers' Credit Union will be coming in probably, maybe for the 16th, so that'll get started. And then 10 Fort Pond and Hartwell are continued. I haven't heard anything else. David Ross just asked for a butter list, so they've got something going on, but that could be.
Because I think the
probably small.
16th is going to spin off work that's going to have to be done for a meeting, so we would really have to meet the week after the 30th.
Which is
Sixth,
a holiday, isn't it?
November 6th.
23rd?
Yeah,
What's
you
the,
got, you got
Oh.
the
Oh,
11th,
oh, oh.
which is Veterans Day.
Right.
And my daughter's
That's a
birthday.
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
See, memorable.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're looking to do,
So-
like, November
Maybe a week
6th
from
would be the
then.
next Monday
So
after
we-
the 30th? Or are you trying to do the
Should be a week
23rd
earlier,
after the
right?
16th?
Is that a holiday though, the 23rd?
Yeah, it'd be the
October
second and
23rd.
third.
It's not.
Yeah.
We're,
I don't know that we can go,
2 weeks in a row.
well, you can do that. Oh, no, because we won't have enough time to post.
Oh, that's right. he's
I'm
probably
thinking the
Yeah.
things that occur on the
gonna try
16th,
to get here.
there's probably going to be work associated with that, but you wouldn't be able to post it in time for the next, so you can't do
Yeah.
back to back.
Where's
Right.
Tony?
So-
We probably could if we didn't have any new public hearings.
No, I'm talking about
Full.
dealing with the
Chairs.
stuff that's coming in on the 16th.
Oh, okay.
we're scheduled right now for November 13th and 27th.
Well, okay, we could do
What's the week after October
6th.
30th? The 6th?
November 6th.
November.
Can we
6th.
do November 6th?
6th and 20th are fine.
When's Thanksgiving?
The 20th would be.
The
Oh,
23rd of
Is it?
November.
And you're gonna have Thanksgiving thrown in there for good
It's
luck.
not the last Thursday?
No, it's the second, it's always the
Is it?
second to last Thursday.
Okay. There's a lot of Thursdays in this November.
So you're talking about maybe, when's
Yeah, that's only the 23rd.
Veterans Day?
The 11th.
The 11th.
So it's a Saturday?
Well, the holiday would be Monday the 13th.
So
Yeah,
we
but
were
That's
curious,
one I think they're actually,
Usually do.
maybe workers get it off, but the 11th is one that you have gotten
still
pretty.
do.
so Amy, could we do
fussy about.
November 6th?
Yeah.
Do the
My
6th and the
husband's a
20th?
veteran.
I don't know when it would
Yeah.
be recognized on the 10th or the 13th, yeah.
So what day is Veterans Day being celebrated?
I am.
Be on the 11th?
see.
It says, on my calendar says the 10th, it's observed on the 10th.
Oh, observe on the 10th, okay.
Okay.
I mean, that's just, like, I
If
don't.
that's
So
the
it's a
federal,
Friday.
if
So
that's
is that
the
a Friday
federal.
then?
That's what the federal thing is.
Oh, interesting.
It's updated
Yeah,
on the-
yeah,
Okay.
Friday, November 10th is the
Okay.
federal holiday.
So we can do November 6th
Sixth.
and 20th, but we can keep December 4 and 18?
Well, that'll work out well, because then I think, as it is right now, we have it on, it would fall on Christmas if we kept with the,
Okay,
We've already
so
got the 4th and 18th in December set now, so we can just keep
Right.
those.
But if
but
we go
switch
6 to
to
20 and
November.
You
Okay,
said November what?
6,
November
and then
6th,
November
20.
20, and then what do we go to for December?
4th and 18th. And I haven't looked at next year yet.
Okay, I think that's helpful for us, though.
All right, that's good.
January 1st. The 18th and 17th.
Yeah, 'cause- yeah,
January 1st is a Monday, so 8th.
So it'll be starting after that. It's always hard to work around the holidays with the Mondays. And except for the bylaw stuff, that was all I had.
Well, why don't we take a stab at the bylaw a little bit? Anybody got anything, Julie, you said you had some?
I do, I have some thoughts. So I looked at, so this, the sentence about the minor activities set forth in 310 CMR.
One extra copy, Henry. Wants it?
Um, So just looking at 310 CMR, looking at what, and I know you circulated that
Yeah.
a few weeks prior to that, but looking at 310 CMR 10.02 and their list of minor activities, I'm a little bit concerned about what they have in item E, what the DEP considers as a minor activity, the conversion of lawn to uses accessory to residential structures such as decks, sheds, patios, pools, replacement of a basement bulkhead, and the installation of a ramp for compliance with accessibility.
But those are what is already outside of the 50-foot.
Okay. So then it's just saying they wouldn't need an NOI at all as long as they stay outside of 50 feet? Because this doesn't, so does this include any disturbance at all? Or is it just the item, you know what I mean, like the item itself?
Well, let me think about this. I'm trying to think if this is, I think I had one shed come in that was like 90 feet away. And this is before the new regulations. And Rebecca had, town council had agreed with me that originally the way it was written is that nothing in the local bylaw would have preempted the Wetlands Protection Act in this particular case. So for this 90-foot shed, I said, you're in the lawn, you're outside, you meet this, fine, I don't need to see anything. But now that the 50-foot thing is in there, Rebecca said that would take precedence over this, although that particular one already has the 50-foot limit in it.
Okay.
So,
But not
My
all of
my
them?
only concern with that is that if you're getting into an elevation or what your grade is, so
Grading.
50 feet on a clear lawn is not the same as if we're looking at something that's very high and could potentially be unstable. So I just want to make sure that we're,
if it's more than 50 feet away, you mean,
Mm.
from the wetland?
like, say you're putting a shed on a hill, and
Then-
you're putting at 52 feet, and you need to drive in, sonotubes or something like that.
Well, they say that the work has to be
Into a shed,
only in the
too.
buffer zone, so it can't be in a riverfront area or a floodplain. It has to, done in a manner to reduce adverse impacts, which includes stabilization, any disturbed areas, the extent of work, the need for erosion controls, and the such. So
Wait, it doesn't need erosion controls?
it does need erosion controls. That's, in
Oh,
order
it still
to
needs
basically
erosion.
activate these minor activities,
Oh,
they would have had need to do these.
Are there any that you're particularly averse to in that list? Or
So I literally threw this in for discussion purposes for
Yeah.
this very reason, so.
Well, and then A too says unpaved pedestrian walkway is less than 30 inches wide for private use and less than 3 feet wide for public access on conservation property. Because that doesn't sound like it has the 50-foot. So we
Correct.
want people putting like a paved walkway
No,
without
unpaved.
unpaved.
that
Still
means
not-
that they could be
yeah.
excavating that's in the first 50?
That could be anywhere.
That could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which would mean
That could
cutting
be-
down trees
Yeah.
possibly, I would
Right,
think.
yeah,
Right.
and excavating to get a
Yeah.
basin.
Yeah.
Unless,
So-
is cutting down trees, is that part of a minor activity, or is that putting it into a significant activity?
There's vista pruning, but that has,
But that has
I think that has the 50 feet.
diameters and.
And it also has the 50 feet. That has to be located more than 50 feet. There's nothing that covers I'm not sure how you would protect against the prep work
cutting.
for the unpaved pedestrian
Right, yeah.
walkway.
Yeah.
Thing that crosses my mind, somebody that needs a handicap access ramp.
Right. And
That-
ramps are mentioned in there specifically. It's called out
They're
for that.
mentioned in
Yeah.
E. I mean, I don't know if we can pick and choose some of these to.
Yeah, well, I would,
Say are okay, and then say we
and
want
just,
you to-
so you could call that out and just say, with exception to, granted, it's
Yeah,
going to be
we
wordy,
could-
but you could
Item
say,
A.
with exception to.
Yeah.
and,
Cutting
because
the trees
there's,
for a
what, like
path.
3 pages of these things. So if, and I was just using as a framework of what minor activities, you might not want to allow any at all within 50 feet. You know, you might not want to use this exemption at all.
I almost think you want to do it case by case,
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
because you're certainly going to do the handicap access, but that may not be walkways, especially if they're close to the resource area.
Yeah, because these would all fall in, I mean, basically the way it's written now is 50 foot, no disturb, it's a no touch zone. So right now, you could not allow a walkway in a lawn. I mean, so it's how the regulation is
I'd
written.
rather keep that in, but also make the exception right now to handicap access,
Mm-hmm.
to go ahead and call that and make the exception for that.
And maybe unpaved pathways that don't involve cutting of trees.
I think maybe if we left that vague for now, because Amy's going to have this project come in, she's going to look at it and say, well, maybe this needs an NOI, and if it doesn't, in her opinion, then she can just sign off on it. Isn't that?
I mean, hardly any of these ever gets used. Pavement repair for the highway department,
Yeah,
they never
Yeah.
come in because they have this exemption. So, most of these, you never really see. So But now with the 50-foot no disturb, I'm reluctant to apply these. I mean, I can't apply these. They're gone.
Mhm.
They don't occur. Well, I guess a shed that's 90 feet away, I could, under this, depending on how you see it, say, fine.
Right.
I mean, if you're the stopgap, that's one thing. If it's, like, I know, in my experience, it's like, okay, we're gonna go out and drill soil borings, and we're right next to a stream, but it's negligible, it's
Yeah.
for investigative purposes, but
Right.
we've had a sub drive through a wetland when they weren't supposed to and got in trouble, I forget what town it was, I wasn't on it, but, they got in trouble with the
Yeah.
town because they drove equipment through it.
Right now.
So that is a thing, and I just feel like with the pace of development that's currently happening, to give carte blanche for
No, I think it's really thoughtful.
investigation.
Well, yeah, then we probably shouldn't use
tests
these,
for
we shouldn't rely on
septic
these at all.
systems.
But the question is, then, are there
I think some
minor
of it
activities
should.
that somehow you want to be able to review but allow within the 0 to 50 foot, such as a pathway? Because right now, you can't.
Well, we can grant a variance, right?
I've got fence
Yeah.
posts and
It's gotta
stuff
have
that
a
are
public
right
use.
within 10 feet of a pond. I'm gonna replace them.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I've got to do it. Once the
Yeah.
town wants to be
Well, you've got
responsible
an
for
ag
chasing.
exemption too, though.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying
Yeah.
that,
Right, but you're ag.
and also, I think there's times when the town needs to put signage up, and in most cases, it's just drive a post or something, and and it's right next to a brook or a wetland, or, it's not a big issue.
How about the Portaloo that's at 0 Newtown right there? Looks like it's gonna fall in the river.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the intent should be to, to catch the larger developments and the construction crews, not necessarily the farmer or the homeowner that needs to replace one post or, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And you need to give a little more thought to how you do that.
Yeah.
And town council might have some ways
Yeah.
of attacking it too. Um,
I thought we were gonna hear from the highway department. There's evidently a couple guys going for their pesticide license. They wanna spray along
Yeah.
around guardrails and stuff, because they can't mow them. And I think that was something they wanted an exemption on, just,
That is in here.
Yeah.
In the bylaw, there already is. I thought there was something in here, right? Wasn't there?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Is there something in the bylaw that allows work within the 50-foot, including control invasive species?
Yeah.
Where'd my whole thing go here?
and you got the railroads.
Well, you can't control railroads.
Yeah, they just
We know that, so let's, yeah.
Yeah, state work is not going to apply to
Yeah.
a town bylaw.
Do we want to look at some of the other ones?
So that was in there to address, like, there may be projects within the 50-foot that you want to be able to allow, and what kind of wording do you want to do it.
Yeah.
Which may also be what I had in section 4.5, is another way of potentially allowing it. And these could potentially apply to projects like at 136 Mill, where they're like 5 feet in, or what's going to be coming up at Workers' Credit Union or at Parley.
I don't know, I like the fact that so far it's been pretty stringent enough so people find other options.
Yep.
I like that, but
My only concern is that if they're non-conforming and not doing a good job, we're kind of telling them right here, it's like, well, we'll consider, like, letting you continue to keep going.
how about a one-time, because this would also would,
Yeah, but
wouldn't this
one time
imply
under
that they'd be
ownership,
able to
so
do
then
this
I
and
sell
then
it to
apply for
somebody
another
else,
one?
and then they get one
Use it
time,
five
and then you just,
There's no
Right.
point.
there's a
You should be able
process.
to make a deed restriction
What
type
about
thing
the
on that,
house
Bill.
across from the Congregational Church. That's all gone, the barn's gone.
Yeah.
That's the guy who's rebuilding the barn and the house, right?
And he moved outside the 50.
Yeah, he moved outside of 50,
Right.
yeah.
But some people might not have that option.
Right.
I mean, that would be my concern. We don't want to catch people with a 300-year-old house and.
Or 20-year-old house.
But we have
Yeah,
an
well,
al- we
right,
have-
yeah, a 20-year-old.
Yeah, we have an alternatives analysis, so maybe we could say, you must use up all alternative options before.
May not
Could you give like a
substanti-
time, like, as you said, like every time the land sells, or could you say like one time every 10 years, or like something like that, like
Or
within
you could
10
say
years,
just
or?
once.
Well, you-
Right, but does that mean, as Sarah
you-
said, like when
It-
selling the
it could
land?
be
Maybe not
that's-
substantially, I'd be like, so what does substantially mean? I know in the state of Maine, when we're working with different projects, I mean, you get 6%, like, that's it. So
Yeah.
if you have a cabin or something, and that could be a couple inches up or out, but that's like,
Yep.
that's all you get, ever.
Yep.
So I think that, I'd like to be, I think this is very vague, to be not substantially, like, throw a number in there.
Well, that's where
Isn't
the
it the
5% or
5%?
500 square feet or
Yeah.
whatever
But you should link
magic
it
number.
maybe directly
Yeah, I mean,
to
just
it,
like-
substantially
Yeah.
meaning blah, blah, blah.
So
Not
that's
substantially.
500 square feet is what, 10 by 50?
Which is pretty big, I guess.
And shouldn't we say the number of times, like once, or?
Yeah, oh, well, that's,
And
That's
you
what
can,
we can only do
you're
once.
set up now to put in restrictions for a riverfront and saying that this is, you get 5,000 square feet, you don't get that every year. You could set up a similar deed restriction.
right. I think, would you mention that here, that it would be a deed restriction in
Um,
this section?
I forget where, I would add it right in there. And again, I think if we can give direction to town council, they deal with these not all the time, but they've seen a lot of different examples.
I'd be keen on like, not greater than 5%.
Yeah, 500 square feet is actually kind of big.
Yeah.
But not if you're small, if it's a small place.
Yeah, exactly, so.
It's 50 by 50 though, that is pretty.
Yeah, that's about the
50 by
equivalent of a
10.
driveway. 10
Well, it
feet
just says
wide,
we'll
50
consider it,
feet
doesn't
long.
mean we have to agree with it.
Yeah. That's a good, yeah, good point. That's for consideration. Because it may be something that's impactful.
Yeah.
Right. And if it's not impactful, we can, rather than.
You can always give a variance.
right.
But do we want to say
Well,
5% or
is that
500
higher
square
bar for
feet,
that
whichever is
or
less?
That's what it said.
It
Is that what
says
it
by
said?
less than 5%. That's different than.
Well, less than 5% or 500 square feet, and then
Increase
parentheses,
the
whichever is less.
nonconformance
Oh, sorry.
By less than 5% or 500 square feet.
How about just saying by 5% or 500 square feet, whichever is less, instead of by less than 5%?
Yeah, I mean, I can find you the wording of one that I've worked with. Let me try and dig that up.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and I'm not too worried about the the final wording of this, I just want to make sure that the
I'll just give you the
overall.
one that I've had
Yeah.
to work in.
Yeah,
It's Maine DEP. Then the question on.
so this kind of took a stab at, and basically an existing home that wants to do something and just can't, maybe their whole house is in the 50-foot, at this point. So this was a stab at that potential issue. Because they would never meet the public interest test.
Right.
All right, public interest.
You're talking about a pre-existing issue.
Exactly, yes, yeah.
Interest in the context.
No problem.
And this might not be the place to put this in the definitions section, but this actually is the one that would get to, if you think it would be worth considering something like Parley, if they can work in the 50-foot, if they make conditions significantly better than they are right now.
Sure.
I mean,
And the same with workers' credit union.
that's,
I think there's
So it's
definitely a
that
public
type of-
interest to have,
Right.
better
'Cause right now-
air
Gets you to
quality
that
and-
variance phase.
Yeah, they can't, so,
So do you guys like this wording that's here? Is that
and I'm not
what you're-
sure, I could see this turning into almost a page, because, you might want to get very specific about what an improved condition is. I was pretty vague about it.
Almost kind of have a whole list of them from Workers' Credit Union.
Well, exactly, and, you know, you make a list and you always forget something, and so it's always tough which way to go.
Consequences.
But
Maybe, for example, so it doesn't tie,
oh, yeah.
you know, to say, for example, you know, here are things that could be considered, but,
Yeah.
you know.
But I also think that
Debate it.
if I can lay these out for town council, she might say, oh, this is
Want to mention
this is what you're
something about
thinking.
water quality in here? Conditions of the buffer zone or resource area. Might be nice to mention something about water quality. Because
Such
we've got
as
so many-
reducing TSS, or, you know, reducing,
I think I started,
not using
That's
fertilizer in the.
yeah, that you would do anyway, but I started listing in there, like, you know, exceeding the stormwater standards, replacing, naturalizing vegetation. I started a list, and I was like, well, I could go on forever. So I ended up putting nothing in, so it was sort of
Yeah, but that would be fun for you.
Creating habitat.
I starts getting, then I wake up at 3 in
Wake
the
up in
morning.
the middle of the night, it's like, I write that one down. Well, I remember in the
Never.
morning, you wake up, I forgot.
I mean, but isn't it, I would think that public interest is beyond just the requirements of the wetland regulations. It's, wouldn't it be other types of public interest as
And
well?
then you're thinking, safety, is that really our
Well,
role?
there is, I mean, the public interest, you've used public interest for replacing
Septic,
septic,
which is a
for
form of public health.
improving a driveway for fire truck access.
Yeah.
Right,
So
safety.
that was, you know, sometimes more obvious, or certainly as the public sees it, more obvious public interest applications. But it seemed that if you want to apply public interest to improving conditions of the resource areas, you probably need to spell that out a little bit more, if you're so inclined.
Yeah, I mean, stormwater's kind of, I mean, there's the MS4 for the town, and then there's, you know, the industrial stormwater permit. It does not capture at all what commercial properties do,
Or homeowner.
at all, well, yeah.
Well, you do already have in the regs that, you know, anybody, the smaller projects are being captured now by having,
Yeah, like erosion control during.
you've got to,
construction.
that anybody applying needs to meet the stormwater standards.
Mhm.
Residential projects creating more than one dwelling unit, which otherwise would be exempt.
Yeah.
Anything that's adding more than 1,000 square feet or 5%, whichever less of impervious area, which otherwise would usually be exempt from the stormwater. So you've already
And that's
caught.
usually just construction though, right?
Yeah, this is for everybody. Commercial, institutional, industrial, office, transportation, single-family homes.
But just during construction, not.
No, this would be operational. So, the first one in,
Is that
they did the expansion, so they got a waiver for their septic system for, under the health, and they added a vortex, a cold tech system for the house to meet this. Which actually, these guys at 417 King Street, who have not built their stream yet, we're also adding a cold tech. Would you like me to bug 417 King Street?
Wait, built their stream? What do you mean? Oh, you mean the rerouting of it behind?
Right, yeah, you know, because the way the order of conditions was phrased, that has to be done before they get their certificate of occupancy.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't asked for a certificate of occupancy, and, you know, here's fall, and they haven't done anything yet.
I don't want
Because
to
they
be
don't have
doing that
to.
in the middle of winter.
Yeah. I already bugged them once, no, we're getting there.
So
So,
with all the storms, where is the water going now? Is it just-
it's actually, it finds its way through, it's not going through the dirt pile or anything. It's,
Yeah, but once that ground freezes, it's gonna go wherever it
oh,
wants.
yeah.
Well,
When
you'd
we're
like
back
to have a
it's like a
chance
year
to
went
get
like that.
stabilized as far as sod or something, grass or something growing around whatever they leave. to-
It's, yeah, I mean, the water has found its own path, and vegetation has grown up on the
It
dirt
does.
pile, so
Has,
Taking care of itself.
you had
in
any,
one sense of things, it's stable.
have you had any more comments from the neighbor?
That's what I was just asking.
No. Yeah, that's true, because
Might be
there's
away
been
for the
some big
summer.
storms since then. If they were complaining, this would have been a year to complain.
Now, what about the bylaw? Because we're talking about the regulations, but you were asking about, or were thinking about what to do with the bylaw before the town meeting, but it's really late for that. Huh?
Well, you can't get on the warrant for the fall, it'd have to be the spring.
So things like taking the fee structure out of the bylaw, and so it's just in the regs, so we have more flexibility on changing fees as necessary if we have to.
Well, that was something you kind of had to go to selectmen for anyway. As far as the fees, they were
They
the
had to
ones.
approve the fee structure.
Well, even
Right,
with
but if
them
you
being
change-
in the regulation, you have to go in front of the selectmen.
But if it's in the bylaw, you gotta go to town meeting.
Yeah,
If it's just in the regulations, you still have to go to the Board of Selectmen, but you don't need to take
Yeah.
that next.
right. You have to have a hearing here, but not in town meeting.
And which reminds me, what was it, last year when we went through this, I did do the whole fee analysis with other towns, so if you ever feel like looking at that.
Yeah,
So we're the most
actually.
expensive.
And then you're also talking about the possibility of discussing vernal pools.
Yeah, vernal pools, yeah. Because right now vernal pools aren't really mentioned in our bylaw.
That seemed to be an issue with that floodplain thing,
Yep.
the vernal pool.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think somebody got caught between the rock and a hard spot on that one.
Anyone gonna go to the selectmen's meeting on the 2nd
I'm gonna try to.
with Cooper?
Well, I also think that I assume you'd be interested in this, what I should probably do is go out there with the map of these A, B, Cs, and Ds and see what condition they are in right now, because
Yeah.
they've been tracking all over the place, so I'm not sure. And no one seemed particularly interested in what the condition of the land looked like before the town takes it over. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, because we had the question of, are we allowing access over, so potentially, say, ag land, was that land accessed to construct another area? And as you had mentioned, in what condition is it in presently? Like, is there a motion to then bring that back to the condition to which it was first started in?
It seemed like there was, having driven by it some, it seemed like this hay is still standing from not being cut.
Yeah, I think Danny had a hard time because of the season of getting in there. He certainly didn't do 2 cuts,
Oh, so wet.
I don't think, this year. I
But
think
I-
he did finally get into the back one. I forget right now.
It would be interesting to,
Yeah.
But one thing I need to check on maps, for example, if you remember, there's, from some of the back basins, there's a really long discharge pipe that goes down the side of that agricultural field in the back. And I can't remember if that's in the open space and there's like an easement. Yeah, there's some stuff like that.
so who's gonna maintain that pipe? The selectmen know that?
I think, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not
Job
sure.
security
If, once that
should be
town, once the road's accepted, I can't remember which basins go with it. At least one of them is sort of private and takes the over 55 housing drainage, I think, but I forget how they're split right now. Okay, so on this stuff, should I just take your comments and go to town council and maybe get some preliminary feedback
Sure.
from them of kind of the general areas? It's gonna take some while. And then I had also sent around, we can do this another time, because it's, you know. it's
I would
8:30.
think maybe an easier, since it's such a long list of minor projects, it might be easier to accept, make exceptions to the minor projects that we, instead of trying to list all the ones we would accept. You know what I
If
mean?
that's-
There
and
should be
you-
certain ones that are excluded right off, like handicap access. So look at that list and say, okay, are you gonna let, town or DPW or whatever that is, so call out, and just say,
Well, yeah.
you need to come in unless you are XYZ.
I mean, it could say, what I have here, with the exception of numbers, A, E, and G, or, whatever they are.
Right, right.
Right.
What you wouldn't want, right? What we wouldn't accept.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe we can look at this later, we can look at this minor project approval 3, which was mostly spurred by the tree cutting, if you want to see every time someone wants to cut a tree.
I think we still need to do that because we need to guide them to the selectmen, because there is that,
Not for, work in the buffer zone tree cutting, it's a whole separate process.
yeah.
Because those trees on Elm aren't in a buffer zone.
Right.
Would you like to conclude this meeting? Anybody?
Sure. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:30?
So moved.
Do I hear a
I'll
second?
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Flip the switch.
Good job.
You're so close.